Are you using relics like these to vacuum? Or maybe even something like this? What about all those hours Saturday wasted until you get to do this?
Maybe it's time you got out of the vacuuming stone age and tried something new, like the Ilife V5s Robotic Vacuum from Mysweety. So let's take a look. The Mysweety Ilife V5s Robotic Vacuum 2-in-1 with wet mop function will arrive safe, packed in a shipping box, an Ilife box, and the retail box with all the major components wrapped in plastic sleeves. Here's the vacuum, the dustbin, the user manual, the remote, the charging base, the wall charger, spare brushes, cleaning brush, the extra mop cloth and HEPA filter, the water tank, and a mopping cloth and its bracket that are already installed on the bottom of the vacuum. Here's the underside of the vacuum right out of the box. Bottom center is the nose wheel, then the brushes, that's the vacuum passage in the middle, the drive wheels, and the mop cloth and its bracket. As noted, the mop cloth and its bracket are already installed on the vacuum when you first remove it from the box. After reading the user manual, I put the vacuum on the charging base, plugged the wall charger in, and waited until fully charged. The first few attempts I tried to use the vacuum, it could not remove itself from the base. It would only move about an inch and then stop. This was when on carpet. It worked perfectly when I tried it out on a hardwood floor and also a tile floor, so I knew it wasn't the vacuum. This I thought was a major problem, as being a carpet cleaner, it would likely be based on a carpet. Thinking it must be a clearance problem when it's on carpet, I thought it must be the mop cloth that is causing the problem. So I attempted to remove the mop cloth from its bracket. While doing so, the bracket partially detached from the vacuum. Thinking I may have damaged it, I got out the user manual, and on page 11 it says, make sure the host has been accurately installed with the bracket with a diagram of where to install the bracket. So I hadn't broken it. I proceeded to completely remove the bracket, and now the vacuum always removes itself from the charging base easily. So, except when wet mopping, you want to remove that bracket and leave it off. This is the only issue I have had with the device, but the solution is simple. Just remove the bracket. Here's a demo video of the vac going to work. See how easily it removed itself from the base? I did speed up the video because really, who wants to watch a vacuum just vacuuming? You'll notice the carpet, which has lots of lumps and bumps. I thought this would be a good test of its abilities. I was not disappointed. It handles all objects and obstacles in its way really well. Here it gets under a table and turns around and gets free and goes on its way. Right about now, I pressed the home button on the remote. It stops vacuuming, it slows down, the brushes slow down, and it starts back looking for its charging base. Another thing is you have no need or worry about it harming your furniture, as when it senses something is near, it slows down almost to a stop and just lightly taps whatever's in the way. It's now located its base and is homing in on it. It is a little off track, but is making very small adjustments until it pulls up to its base, turns off, and starts charging. Here I use the remote to send it directly at its base, and then I push the home button to see what would happen. Well, here's what happened. You can see that it's turned and started towards its charging base. It didn't have time to make those small adjustments, and it fails to dock. But it backs up, squares up, starts going forward, docks, turns off, and starts to charge. Now it's time to try the wet mop function. Push where it says push and the lid opens. Remove the dustbin and replace it with the water tank. Of course, you will need to put water in it. Push the lid shut until it locks and place the vac on the floor to be cleaned. You can let it wet mop the whole area or push the spot button and it will circle several times a small area. I again sped up the video because it is kind of boring. But notice how those dark spots are starting to disappear with each pass? So cleaning really does take place. On the right, you will see how the floor looked before mopping, and on the left is how it ended up. I think you can see the difference. The remote is really easy to use. The arrow keys control the direction if you want to manually steer the vacuum. They are also used to set the time. It's a 24-hour clock, so 4 a.m. is 400, 4 p.m. is 1600. If you want to schedule the vacuum to go to work, you just press the plan, set the time, press plan again. If you don't want to schedule, just leave the plan at 000. The buttons at the bottom are for spot cleaning, return home, and edge cleaning. I've been very pleased with this robotic vacuum. It does a great job of cleaning, and it handles all obstacles very well. It did one time get wedged under the rocking chair, but that was the only time it could not extricate itself. This vacuum will not replace your full-size vacuum, which has the power to remove debris that's deep down in the fibers of your carpet. But this robotic vacuum, if used daily, will remove a lot of that debris before it gets a chance to get down deep into your carpet, which means you, yourself, will not have to do as much vacuuming. So if you let it do its job and then recharge, you'll have more time to relax and recharge too. To gain back some time for other activities that you used to spend vacuuming, get an Ilife V5s Robotic vacuum from Mysweety and relax.